The Houston Rockets recently participated in one of the biggest trades we've seen in the past 5-6 years in the NBA. It actually rocked the NBA world, and today I'm going to sit down and talk about exactly what's happening with this Rockets team now. Obviously, Harden leaving is a giant hole and chasm in this team, but at the same time, I'm going to explain a little bit why I think this might actually help the Rockets in the long run. Before I get too in-depth into all of that, please do like and subscribe if you enjoy. We post a lot of NBA, NFL content, and we have been grinding recently, getting out a ton of videos. Subs have been looking good, but I'd love it if you could just hit the like button, hit the big red subscribe button. It helps us out a ton, and we'll get into the video. So, first things up, obviously Harden leaving, giant everything. This changes the entire face of this team. They also acquired John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins to start the season. Plus, what I think might be their biggest addition is Christian Wood. They got Christian Wood, and he is actually on a really good contract as well. So, Christian Wood is going to help this team an incredible amount. John Wall, healthy, is going to be extremely important to this team as well. And him, Boogie, Eric Gordon, these guys are veteran leaders. They've been in the league for a long time. They know the ins and outs. John Wall has been the number one guy on his team before. That is a giant experience moment, and it's going to help all these young guys that the Rockets have, all these young three-point shooters, elevate their game a little bit. Obviously, they have the scrappier younger guys like PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, you could say. I think he's a little bit more than a scrappy guy, but who knows? Some people might just see him as one of them. Mason Jones, their recent draft pick, has been looking pretty good, actually. I've liked what I've seen from him. And they have an overall abundance of good shooters. Ben McLemore is one of the best shooters in the league from a percentage standpoint. And all in all, this team looks good. Obviously, they have another giant addition in Victor Oladipo. The Rockets ended up, during the Harden trade, finessing themselves into Karis LeVert and then flipping Karis for Victor. And what I saw from Victor against the Chicago Bulls was incredible. He looked like the Victor Oladipo of old. He was dishing out assists. He had 9 assists. He had 32 points. He was on a tear. His three-point shot was absolutely beautiful, and he was hitting them at the right moments. He was also, in my opinion, the biggest part of his game was taking shots at the right time. He was not going into these possessions and running to the basket or making really dumb decisions. He was there to help his team win, and at the end of the day, it helped his stats as well. But he really impressed me. Him and Christian Wood are a dynamic duo. People will know their names in a couple of years as this team develops. I really do hope that the Rockets pay Victor if he continues to play like this. I know they will. That's why they traded for him. But Oladipo has had lots of connections with other teams like the Miami Heat and others. So it's definitely up in the air if Victor will be there next season. But right now, he looks really good on that team. And I'm excited to see what he looks like when John Wall is healthy too. Victor was running point guard a lot of this game, and he was doing it really well. That's John Wall's spot on this team, so I want to see how he transitions into that shooting guard role, or maybe, it's hard to say, put Victor on the bench, and I don't know necessarily if they should put him on the bench, but I think that having him run at point guard and giving John Wall rest and having him come in with the second unit, that can make this team a lot better. And if Victor can put his ego aside and, start to win and be like very, very confident in himself, confident to the point where he doesn't mind taking a backseat for wins and teams and having his stats take a little bit of a dip. So that's going to be a big point for this Rockets team this season. The Rockets also have a new head coach, James Silas. Everything is looking new for this team. They've got new stars, new young faces, a new young coaching staff. All together, this team this season, it is an experiment. I think this is an evaluation season for this team with the upside of a playoff run. Do I think they're going to beat the Lakers? No. But honestly, this team can make the playoffs. With the veteran leaders that they have and the talent that they have, Christian Wood has been lighting it up. He's averaging like 24, 25 points a game right now. He is killing it. He's perfect for this team. He's so fast. Yeah, he's like 7 foot, 6'10", whatever you want to call him. He's a big, but he's also an extremely athletic big. A lot of people compare him to a poor man's Anthony Davis, which I somewhat agree with. I do think that he and Anthony Davis have very similar play styles. Christian Wood's a little bit skinnier, a little bit smaller than AD. Obviously, he's not as good as AD either, but man, he's a really good player, and he's going to be a good player for a while if he can stay off that injury list. Oladipo, I've said plenty about him. Him and Wood are going to be great. John Wall coming back. I can't wait to see what the rotation looks like. I'm guessing it'll be John Wall, Oladipo. Who's going to run small forward? Eric Gordon? Maybe a little too small, but I can see them putting Eric Gordon there. Power forward, I think just maybe put Wood there and then Tucker at the center spot. I know that might seem weird if you look at their heights and Tucker's smaller, but Tucker's a good center. He's a really good post defender as well. He's really valuable. But at the same time, there's been rumors about them trading him away, and if they do that, the front court is going to be a little off. Christian Wood's going to need somebody else to help him, get rebounds. That's a big problem for this team. They're super small, and those rebounds are really important. This team is looking really bright into the future, and I hope they can get a grasp of what the future holds for them during the course of this season. I don't know if they're a lock for the playoffs. I think before the season, obviously with Harden, might even want to call him a lock for the playoffs. But with that said, I think this team has more capabilities to win and get there now than they did with Harden on the team like he was this season. Obviously, not Harden in the past. But Harden really hurt this team, man. I hate the way he left. This team, if they had started off hot, Harden helping them win. That's what he needed to do. He didn't need to sit around and, hurt the locker room and the confidence of other players. He needed to let this team know that he was going to leave and not play for them and let this team come to their own conclusions of what they wanted to do. It's hard to say don't play Harden, but Harden should have taken the initiative himself. This team started off really cold. They still are very cold. They took an L to the Bulls today. And, man, it's going to hurt them in that seeding. So right now, with the way this team's looking, especially in a 72-game season, I don't know if they're going to be seeded well enough to make the playoffs. I know there's this play-in bubble, and I think that's going to help them tremendously. And I think that's going to help a lot of teams this year with this shortened season. And I'm excited for that part because I want to see if this Rockets team can win against good teams. Like Portland is a team I'm expecting to be there with the Rockets pretty neck and neck for any playoff spot that they're looking for in the Western Conference. I want to see those two teams play in this play-in because that's going to be the deciding factor on who gets the edge, who's the better team. Yes, the Blazers might have gotten more wins in the regular season, but the Rockets started off cold with Harden and that whole drama. So it's going to take some time to acclimate for this team, but as they get things working, as Christian Wood continues to step up, Oladipo, this is his first game back against the Bulls. He is going to be really important, especially as a facilitator. He looked incredible. John Wall coming back, I know he's a little banged up right now, as he always is, but John Wall coming back is huge as well. And DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Gordon looked great. He looked like an offensive threat. PJ Tucker did not look like an offensive threat, but he was great on the defensive end of the ball. So it's all about James Silas working with his personnel, understanding who's good at what, when to put them in, and fixing his rotations as he sees fit. So with that said, those are my opinions on the Rockets. This was more of a sit down and, just let out my emotions. I just finished watching the game, talking about what I saw. Another big thing that I just want to add at the end here is that this team kind of looked a little sloppy on defense. The transition defense was not good. They were letting Lauri Markkanen go coast to coast. There was not a ton of effort I saw either. I don't know if that's just something to do with the lack of chemistry because this is an entirely new team with the additions of John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Christian Wood, Victor Oladipo. So Mason Jones, obviously he's a rookie, but I don't even know why I added him at the end there. But I don't know if that has to do with the chemistry problems, But there are a couple guys out there that aren't going 100% on defense, which is a big problem, I think. So if they can start to work on the sloppiness on defense, put a little bit more effort into those defensive possessions, and on offense, making sure to, I think Victor Oladipo did a great job, but against the Lakers, they were taking very early shots, and I think an important part is to draw the game out. Don't take the first, what you might think is an open three. Take your time, get acclimated to the possession, and work your magic, especially with players that can score like Eric Gordon, Oladipo, Wall, Wood. You've got to take your time, settle down, and get those open threes because that's what's going to win you those games. Thank you so much for watching. If you got this far, please like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed. It really helps us out a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.